Welcome back, football fans. Today, we're diving into the story of a quarterback who doesn't just play the game. He embodies the battle within it. A player whose toughness is his trademark, whose silence speaks louder than any trash talk, and whose leadership comes from scars, not speeches. This is the story of Jaxson Dart, the fighter from Utah who's redefining what it means to lead, to persevere, and to rise when the odds say you shouldn't. Because when the lights come on and the game slows down, Dart's not just out there throwing passes. He's out there proving a point. Born on May 13, 2003, in Kaysville, Utah, Jaxson Dart didn't grow up surrounded by celebrity or luxury. He grew up in the kind of place where faith, family, and hard work weren't just values. They were expectations. His father, Brandon Dart, was a linebacker for the University of Utah, a man who knew the grind of football, the sacrifices it demanded, and the discipline it required. From the beginning, Jaxson didn't have to be told what toughness meant. He saw it every day. His father's lessons weren't just about how to hit harder or throw farther. They were about character, resilience, and how to fight through moments when no one's watching. Jackson's journey through high school football wasn't some overnight success story. He didn't walk onto the field as the chosen one. He worked for every inch, every snap, every ounce of recognition. It wasn't until his senior year at Corner Canyon High School that everything came together. A season so explosive it would rewrite Utah high school football history. Over 5,000 passing yards, 67 touchdowns, and an undefeated record. Those weren't just numbers, they were statements. They were proof of what happens when talent meets tenacity. That year, Dart wasn't just a quarterback. He was a phenomenon. He was named the 2020 Gatorade National Player of the Year, a title that signaled his arrival on the national stage. But even then, he wasn't satisfied. That's the thing about players like him. They never are. When Dart committed to the University of Southern California, it felt like destiny. The golden boy from Utah was heading to the City of Stars, ready to take on one of the biggest programs in college football. The expectations were sky high. But football, like life, has a way of testing you when you least expect it. Dart's freshman season was a roller coaster of injuries, adversity, and change. He battled through pain, through the noise, and through the uncertainty of a program in transition. When Lincoln Riley arrived and brought Caleb Williams with him, Jaxson was suddenly on the outside looking in. For many, that might have been the end, a what could have been story. But not for him. Dart doesn't quit. He recalibrates. He entered the transfer portal not out of frustration, but out of faith. Faith that his story wasn't done, that his game still had more to give. And then came Oxford, Mississippi, a place that would test his toughness and ignite his rebirth. Ole Miss wasn't just a new team, it was a new chapter. Under the sharp eye and bold play calling of Lane Kiffin, Dart was given the chance to redefine himself, to rebuild from the ground up. But he wasn't handed anything. He had to earn it all over again. The playbook, the respect, the leadership role. And he did it the only way he knew how, through grit. From the moment he arrived in Oxford, you could feel a shift. Dart wasn't there for fame or comfort. He was there to compete. He wasn't the loudest in the room, but everyone could feel his energy. He led by example, by toughness, by his willingness to take hits, stand tall, and deliver the throw anyway. And soon, the locker room realized, this wasn't just a transfer trying to find a home. This was a quarterback who was about to make Ole Miss his team. The SEC is a different animal. It's not just a conference, it's a battlefield. Every week is a war, and every quarterback who survives earns his stripes the hard way. Dart learned that fast. But instead of folding, he adapted. He studied the defenses. He learned how to use his mobility as a weapon, his instincts as armor. And with every hit he took, he got tougher. With every interception, he got smarter. He grew, not just as a player, but as a man. And as Ole Miss grew with him, something special began to form. The connection between Dart and Kiffin became one of the most compelling dynamics in college football. Kiffin's aggressive play calling met Dart's fearless mentality head-on. They trusted each other, coach and quarterback, risk-taker and playmaker. And when you watched them on Saturdays, you could see it, that unspoken understanding that greatness requires a little chaos. Jaxson Dart doesn't play scared. He never has. Watch him long enough, and you'll notice how calm he is in chaos. How pressure doesn't shrink him, it sharpens him. It's not arrogance, it's conviction. He knows who he is, and he knows what he's capable of. When the blitz comes, he doesn't flinch. When the pocket collapses, he moves with controlled fury, eyes always downfield, always hunting for that next opportunity to strike. That mindset doesn't come from privilege, it comes from pain. It comes from nights where everything feels like it's falling apart, but you keep going anyway. It comes from being told you're not the guy and deciding to prove everyone wrong. That's Jaxson Dart in a nutshell. Every time he steps onto the field, he's not just playing to win. He's playing to remind the world that nothing, not even doubt, can stop belief. What makes Dart's story so compelling is that he's not trying to be anyone else. In a world where quarterbacks are often brands before their players, Dart stays authentic. No gimmicks, no filters, just football. He's the kind of player who'll dive headfirst for a first down, throw his body into contact, and pop back up before anyone else. That's not recklessness, that's heart. And it's contagious. You can see it in the way his teammates respond to him. They don't just follow him because he's the quarterback. They follow him because he's fearless. Off the field, Dart remains grounded. He's humble, spiritual, and deeply connected to his family and faith. He understands that leadership isn't about control, it's about connection. And that's why Ole Miss fans have fallen in love with him. They see themselves in him. The fight, the resilience, the relentless belief that no matter how tough it gets, you keep showing up. Because that's what family does. That's what faith does. That's what football does. Jaxson Dart has become the perfect symbol for Ole Miss football, a program built on the underdog mentality, thriving in the shadows of giants, yet never backing down. Every throw, every scramble, every bruise tells the story of a player who refuses to be defined by the past. He's not the transfer kid anymore. He's not the backup who left USC. He's the leader of one of the most exciting offenses in the country. And if you ask anyone who's watched him grow, they'll tell you the same thing. Jaxson Dart isn't just playing for a team, he's building a legacy. There's something poetic about the way Dart approaches the game. It's violent, yet composed. It's strategic, yet raw. He plays with fire, but he controls it. He's emotional, but never unstable. That balance is rare in a young quarterback. The ability to burn hot without burning out. And when he locks in, when he's in that rhythm where every throw feels effortless and every decision feels precise, you can sense it, that this is a player destined for more. But what sets him apart the most is his mentality. He doesn't run from competition, he welcomes it. He doesn't shy away from the spotlight. He commands it by performance, not personality. Every offseason, while others talk about hype and rankings, Dart's out there grinding, film, weights, footwork, leadership, because he knows the only way to silence doubt is through dominance. The story of Jaxson Dart isn't finished, not even close. But already, it's one of the most powerful narratives in college football. From Utah's quiet fields to the chaos of the Coliseum, from the heartbreak of being replaced to the resurrection of leading Ole Miss, Dart's journey is a masterclass in perseverance. He's living proof that your past doesn't determine your future, your response does. And that's what makes him special. Because no matter how many times he gets knocked down, he always gets up. And every time he does, he's stronger, sharper, and hungrier than before. That's what champions are made of. Thank you for watching this tribute to Jaxson Dart, the competitor, the fighter, the quarterback who's teaching us that toughness isn't about never falling, but about always rising. If you were inspired by his story, by his fire, by his relentless pursuit of greatness, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves the grind, and subscribe for more stories of athletes who define the word resilience. Because Jaxson Dart's story isn't just about football, it's about life. It's about faith, grit, and the unbreakable will to keep moving forward. And something tells us, his best chapter is still being written.